Let's be honest. Holidays can bring out the best and the worst in our circumstances and in ourselves. The mental load of a mother is difficult enough as it is, but during the holidays, it is so much more intense. As a mom, holidays are hard. Trying to get everything organized, buying and wrapping presents, budgeting, decorating, baking, hosting, going to multiple events, sending out cards, and the list goes on. While the season is full of joy, it is often you who is the backbone of the holiday magic. You're the ones to move the elf, to remember the multiple school spirit days, to keep track of who has which presents and what still needs to be done. We joke about it. But the truth is that it is the most stressful time of the year for many of you who are trying your best to make the holidays special for your family. A 2006 study by the American Psychological Association states that holiday stress has a particular impact on women who take charge of many of the holiday celebrations. This research was done over 15 years ago, but the findings still ring true today. This study goes on to say that the emotional labor you take on is essentially the exact definition of the term in the dictionary. Emotional labor literally means the sum of small acts performed by one person to make other people's lives more pleasant and to protect them from negativity, including hiding the effort required to do so. Whoa, does that sound like real life? Then you add in loss, family drama, a toxic family member, or unhealed trauma from your past. It can make the holidays an overwhelming time. So, what do you do about that? Let me take you back a few years to 1998. My world was shaken to its core. All of my extended family was coming to visit us for the 4th of July. It was that weekend that my husband of over 13 years announced to me he was leaving. By Thanksgiving, I had discovered an affair. The day after Christmas, I received divorce papers. Every holiday that year had brought heartache, sorrow, and an overwhelming sense of loss. But here's the thing, I had 4 kids depending on me. Talk about emotional labor. I wanted them to feel loved and celebrated despite the pain. As the various holidays of 1999 rolled around, I wanted to run from celebration. I felt the loss and the ache of the previous year weighing down upon me. When it came time to plan for Christmas, I made a bold decision. That year, we packed up and drove 12 hours to Florida. We left behind the traditions that felt too heavy to carry, and we created new ones. We bought a tiny Charlie Brown Christmas tree. We made seashell ornaments that year, beachside cookies from Pillsbury, mind you. And on Christmas Day, we made a sand birthday cake for Jesus. It was so much fun to dance around the birthday cake, singing happy birthday to Jesus. And then at the end, you do what you do to ginormous sandcastles. You jump on it and smush it all to pieces. That Christmas taught me something important. Simplifying isn't about escaping reality. It's about creating space for what truly matters. And what truly mattered that year was finding a way to connect with my kids and connect with joy. Sometimes the dread of it all overshadows the joy we want to feel. It might be the dread of facing the holiday without someone special. It might be the dread of dealing with toxic family relationships. It might be the dread of doing it all. But instead of succumbing to the dread and the despair, beloved, you can decide to do it different. And I'm here to help you. Hey there, I'm Misty Hughes, your reformed and restored celebration coach. I'm one who has been tried in the fire and stepped out without smelling like smoke. I am so glad you decided to join me today on Mom2Mom Mentoring. This month, we've been discussing ways to simplify the season. Over the past few weeks, I've wanted to offer you support by sharing simple ways to connect with yourself and with God during what is the busiest and most stressful time of the year. In the holiday seasons of hard, I learned some simple ways to find joy, maintain peace, and usher my kids into a happy holiday. And to help you, I've put together a free resource of my top 10 favorite family traditions, which weren't really traditions in the traditional sort of way. Like my son Philip said this past weekend, we have a tradition in our family of making new traditions. One of my favorite non traditional traditions that you will find was our gingerbread house competition. We made our houses, then displayed all the houses, and gave every visitor to our home the right to vote for their favorite one. On Christmas Day, we tallied up all the votes and cheered for the winner. I'm sure there was some sort of prize, like a candy bar or something. You can grab this free resource at mom2mommentoring.com/holiday and be inspired to try a new tradition for your family this holiday season to help you through the hard. It's my gift to you because I'm all about helping you discover new ways to shine like the star that God has called you to be, even when life feels heavy. Today's episode is a part of my Simplify the Season series, and we're going to tackle the tender topic of how to navigate the holidays when family relationships are strained or when loss has left an empty chair at the table. But the good news is, with God's help, you can simplify the season. You can find moments of peace and joy. You can live, lead, and love from overflow, even when things aren't perfect. Harvard Law graduate and relationship expert Eve Rotsky addresses the issue of holiday overload in her book, Fair Play. She and her team have spent over 10 years researching the effects of the added stress on women during the holidays. Women typically take on two-thirds of the work it takes to run a home and a family during the year. But in this research, she found that women are still taking on more than their fair share of this domestic load during the holiday season. She has a term for that she calls holiday hands. It's like this, Mom. You have a deck of cards in front of you, and you typically have a full hand that you're holding anyway. But during the holidays, you are taking more and more cards from the deck, and your hand is overflowing with cards, and you're holding on, afraid that they're going to all tumble to the floor. She notes that dads consistently report that they don't feel guilt and shame. Moms, on the other hand, feel punished if they don't show up the way that they're supposed to, either by their children, the community, or themselves. She notes that while a mom can outsource laundry or dishes, you cannot outsource your gift of love. Like remembering to bring your third grader flowers after a Christmas concert, or sending out the Christmas cards to make sure you stay in touch with family and friends. It's these little things that fall out of your holiday hands that can make you feel like you're failing. These gifts of love that you long to have time and capacity to give. Add to that the challenge of loss or difficult family dynamics. Are there practical ways to simplify the season and deal with these things? Well, I've come up with a 3-step peace plan to help you deal with the hand of your holidays. As I stated in last week's podcast, peace is a gift. Jesus, the Prince of Peace, came to establish his kingdom of peace here on earth as it is in heaven. Beloved, you can have peace in the midst of the hard. The first thing that you can do is to pray. Cover your family gatherings in prayer. Proverbs 31 says, "She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet." That covering is her prayers. Mom, you can cover the hearts of your children and yourself in prayer. A couple of my favorite ones are from Romans 15:13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Another one I love that is always a go-to is out of Isaiah 40. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And of course, Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. These are just a few of my favorite passages that I can lean into when I am feeling the hard of the holidays or any other season of life. I use these as my crutch to lean into the Lord instead of my own understanding. The second thing that you can do to incorporate the kingdom of peace in your heart and home is to prepare. There are going to be challenging moments, and you can think ahead. For example, if you know certain topics might stir conflict, have a few neutral conversation starters ready. I actually put them in the notes section on my iPhone. In years past, I've had a jar of conversation starters that has been passed around the table to keep the conversation flowing about positive things that are uplifting. The third step in this simple holiday peace plan is to practice. Practice creating space for your emotions, whether it's grief or stress or frustration. Don't push down your feelings. Allow yourself the time and space to feel and process. Now, here's the cool thing. Dr. Jill Taylor, the Harvard brain scientist, explains when a person has a reaction to something in their environment, there's a 90-second chemical process that happens in the body. Yep, the reality is it takes our body 90 seconds to allow an emotion to pass completely through our body. The emotional triggers or red flags activate chemical changes within your body, which puts you on full alert. Fight, flight, freeze response. And these chemicals can be totally flushed out of your body in less than 90 seconds. Wow. Dr. Taylor goes on to explain that after that 90 seconds, any remaining emotional response is just your choice to stay in that emotional loop. And you know what? That's okay sometimes. But knowing that the chemical process only takes 90 seconds allows you the freedom to give yourself that 90 seconds. After that, if you choose to stay in the emotion, if you need to cry, if you need to throw a temper tantrum, you can do so, but recognize that it's your choice. Find the space and give yourself the freedom to do what you need to do. Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl said, everything can be taken from a human but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Beloved, you can discover joy. You can welcome in peace. You can live in hope during the hard of a holiday season. Remember this 3-step holiday peace plan: pray, prepare, and practice. Then you will have the capacity to pause and respond calmly to the grief, frustration, to the tension, to the hard holiday. The holidays don't have to be perfect to be beautiful and memorable. And the holidays don't have to be easy to be the best. After all, one of my most memorable, best holidays was that Christmas on the beach in the midst of grief, loss, and hard. Remember, you're not alone. The one who is the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Emmanuel, is with you, equipping you empowering you and strengthening you to shine His light, even in hard times. And don't forget, I've created a free resource, my top 10 holiday traditions, to add some sparkle, fun, to help you find hope and happiness in your hard holiday. These ideas will help bring joy back to your season without adding extra stress. They're simple, meaningful traditions that my family has loved over the years. You can grab your free copy at mom2mommentoring.com/holiday or check in the show notes for the link. As we wrap up today's Mom to Mom Mentoring podcast on how to simplify the season, the one thing I would like to invite you to simplify your season by focusing on what truly matters. Let go of what is overwhelming. Embrace what brings peace and connection. Hey, Mom, I do have a quick holiday request. If this episode has encouraged you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps other moms find the show and join our community. Also, share this episode with a friend who might need some encouragement during this hard holiday season. And don't forget to grab your free copy of my top 10 holiday traditions. It's a great way to simplify the season and create some sweet memories. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, remember this: you are called and created to shine like a star. God has given you everything you need to navigate this season with joy and peace. Keep shining, my friend, and I'll see you next week.